Mastering musical structure. Primary chords. So far, we focused on the primary triads not because they're important static units, but because in Western music they are the foundation to the way music is structured and even listened to. The tripod set up by the home tonic, subdominant shift, dominant tension, and resolve return is enough to provide the base for the complexity that arose throughout the classical, romantic, and still today in popular musical genres and styles. Your strength and versatility as a musician involves in large part the deep internalizing of these structures. It's therefore vital to master your ability to recognize them, first visually, in notation and chord charts, as well as recognize them aurally when you listen to music, as well as practicing the kinesthetic, making sensory motor connections and muscle memory when you play your instrument and when you sing, as well as verbally in your ability to accurately describe the structures present in a piece of music when collaborating with other musicians. Taking the time to practice each of these modes is how musical concepts become ingrained in your mind and part of your own musical language. First, let's practice the visual. You're about to see a chord chart in the key of E flat, and you'll have 20 seconds to see how many primary chords you can identify from the chord symbols. First, ask yourself, what are the primary chords in E flat? Ready? Set. Here you go. You should have counted 17 primary chords. In E flat, these would have been any form or inversion of E flat, A flat, and B flat. If you didn't count 17, then go back and try again. If that was easy for you, this next one may be a little bit more challenging. This one is in D major, and you'll have 30 seconds. You may see some chords that you don't recognize, but your task is to just identify chords with primary roots, the 1, 4, and 5. Ready? Set. Here we go. Not enough time? Before I show you the answer, if you want to go back and finish counting, go ahead. You should have counted 36 primary chords, which would be any form or inversion of D, G, and A, including forms such as D over C sharp, G over F sharp, A7 sus, which you may not recognize, but the roots are nonetheless primary roots. One more. This one only has notes and no chord symbols. It is in the key of E minor, and there is no time limit. Instead, pause the video and take as much time as you need to locate all the primary chords that exist, even if they're inverted. Ready, set, pause. This one only had 15 primary chords in the key of E minor, which were E minor, A minor, and B major. A couple of them were tricky because the chord tones arrived on an offbeat, and the very last one chord was actually E major instead of E minor. When you see a major chord at the end of a minor song, it's called a picardy third, and was common in the Baroque period. Some of you may have noticed that in the middle of the piece, it actually changed keys to the relative major of G major, then changed back to E minor. Go back and see if you can find this key change, or modulation. If you can't, don't worry about it. Next, you should practice identifying primary chords by hearing them. You're going to hear 6 primary chords. The first one is the tonic, to set your ear. Your task is to identify the other 5 primary chords with Roman numerals. You'll hear the progression 2 times. Here we go. Your answer should have been 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. Here's another one, in the same key, but different instrument. Here you should have heard 5, 1, 5, 4, 1. One more. This time we're in minor, and there are 6 chords you must identify. The answers are minor 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 5. A great website you can go to practice just these kinds of exercises is teoria.com, where you can customize your drills by difficulty. Kinesthetic practice is the involvement of muscle movement in your learning, which creates muscle memory associations with structures and concepts, actually building new connections between neurons in your brain. This kind of practice is not only extremely effective in making things stick in your head in general, it is profoundly important for these ideas to start impacting your actual music making. The more ways you can reinforce an idea, the better. Actually talking or singing out loud the names of structures while you're practicing them is another great way to bring your auditory and language centers into the brain into the learning process. Why waste so many hours practicing inefficiently? Remember, only perfect practice makes perfect. First, at the keyboard, start playing your primary chords in root position with just one hand, in all 12 major and minor keys until they get really fast and really comfortable. Then, if you're comfortable, do the same thing with both hands. In the left hand, at least try to practice playing the root, if not the whole chord. The next thing you want to do is work on playing inversions in just your right hand. So instead of going all root position, closest inversion. Then, with the left hand, play the roots of the chord while playing the inversions in the right hand. It'll take some practice, but it'll be really, really good for your coordination and memory. Here are a couple more ways to make your practicing even more effective. First, since we're eventually working toward making music, make everything you play sound as musical as possible. Don't just play through it in a boring way, but make a groove out of it. Basically, the more musical you can make it, the faster it'll start to integrate in your actual music making process. This next tip may sound a little funny, but it really does work. Actually say, or even better, sing out loud the name of whatever it is you're doing whenever you practice. 1,